All right, we came back here to our little backfield, and I filled up the feeders here with some chow for the deer, and all my clover got a lot of grass in it. All kind of stuff in with this clover, but the grass really took over the clover, so I got to get some clethodim out here. I think I used Grass Out Max chemical for this. But the soybean field, wow, check it out. You know, it's really nice. The soybeans are so small and so short. If I wasn't such a cheapskate and actually came through here and spread some fertilizer on these suckers, I would have some waist-high soybeans in here. But the deer are in here eating them all. You can see how they munch them all down. Like every one has been browsed. And the spacing's pretty good for hand broadcasting this. It's really nice. And these are forage soybeans, so they're coming back. There's so many, it's almost 2 acres, that I planted enough of them to where when they're eating them, some of them have time to rest and regenerate themselves. And that's kind of what's happening. They're not going to get any beans on them. They're all mowed down so good that there's not going to be any beans, but for green food form, for greenage, tonnage wise, they come out of the woods here and they're grazing through this every night. So I might go, I think I'm definitely going to go through here because there's a lot of bare ground here. I'm going to put some brassicas in here and clover and oats. That's what I'm doing. Everything. Everything's going to be brassicas, clover, and oats. Everything for the fall. So I won't have to say that 10 times for you. Brassicas, clover, and oats all over and over. So that's what I'm going to do. But at least this field has something good still in it. So that's a plus. All right, here it goes. I got my glyphosate right there, 45-gallon sprayer. And you can see what the field looks like now here. I've been going back and forth and spraying all this. Now, if you watch the other videos, this strip right here already had it down nice and flat, nice good dirt. And then I guess like a month later, the weeds came right in. So it's really low weeds right here. But I sprayed it with glyphosate, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to run the disc over this whole area. I'm spraying this whole stinking field. I mowed it, I brush hogged it all, but I disked this nice and flat. And then there, along the edge there, you can see my corn. See how it's like light green? Well, all that corn, 400 yards of it, from down there all the way down, is mixed with weeds. It's all mixed with weeds. The corn is only about waist high. It's light yellow. There's no cobs on it anywhere, and some of it's tasseling out without any cobs on it. So I'm going to brush hog that because that's already been disked nice and flat, and get that area where the corn is back down to dirt. I'm going to seed this. I'm going to seed that whole long strip there, and then way in the back there behind the building, you see that dark area? Well, that's where that Jimmy Red corn did not come up, behind the barn there. And I'm going to seed that also. But I'm still on the spraying step here. It's taking forever. All right, we got all our grass cutting done. And now this middle strip here, which is already disked, you can see the grass is growing back in it. So I sprayed it, and now I'm going to disc it again so I can plant my stuff here. But I rigged this a little bit. So the little disc by itself, it seems like it's just skimming the ground, like it's not really digging in. So I wrapped the chain around here, around the last bar, so most of the weight's being pulled by that, up by the top link, and then I put it through my chain drag here. So the pressure from all this weight pulling back, like fishing, like, you know, trolling, is holding the back of the disc down. So it's working pretty good. Okay, here's the special blend. This is what I'm going to put together. I've got purple top turnips, collard greens, Ladino Clover, red clover, oats, and then a bag of frigid forest. That's a mix of different types of brassicas. So I'm going to make a blend. So I'm going to make a blend of all this and then broadcast it on this field here, the one way in the back, way back there. I've got a long strip that runs along there all the way down, and then in our backfield. So 4 different areas I'm going to put this. A lot of oats. I've got a lot of oats. I've got more in the garage there, and that's just Tractor Supply oats. They're just cheap. This bag isn't. I actually picked this bag up, but it was pretty expensive. This I think was like 12 bucks, maybe 15 bucks, something like that for a bag of oats from them. And they've worked before. I planted them before and they come up fine. So that's what I bought, just the cheap oats. But I'm going to mix this all together and start spreading with my little spreader. I think I'm going to spread the oats by themselves because I really want to regulate this because of how small these seeds are. And if I mix oats in with it, it might throw out too much of the little stuff. So I'll actually have to do everything 2 different times. Once with the little tiny seeds, and then I'll go back and just put the oats down heavy. I won't really worry about those too much. 1 scoop of each. I'm just going to put half of this bag. That's probably good for up here. All right, I'm gonna move you over here and I'm gonna take a walk. Now it is wet and muddy, of course. All right, two different types of oats here. This domain forage oats, I'm going to put it here in the front, and then the rest, I'll just use the basic Tractor Supply oats all the way in the back. So as far as this bag will take me, and then the rest will be the Tractor Supply to see if there's any difference. So it'd be a good experiment to check in later to see which ones will grow better here. Same field, and this field is nice. Like, I've done other fruit plots like over there with curves and round trees and all that stuff. What a pain in the butt. A nice straight strip, flat, level, straight back and forth, and just wide enough to where the deer can eat comfortably without fighting each other. This seems to be pretty good. And when you're broadcasting it, you just got to do like little zigzags, because the thrower can throw it 10 to 15 feet. So I don't have to walk that far back and forth, just turn a little bit and turn a little bit. And that thing's covering pretty much the whole thing. So take a look at these seeds. Now, to me, they don't look any different. I don't know if they would look different, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna have to get like a used four-wheeler with one of those electronic spreaders in the front of it instead of walking. Now these I'm going to put on heavy. Okay, change of plans. Spreading the oats with the little spreader that I left out there is taking way too long by hand. So I pulled out the big boy, and my oats I'm going to spread with this, drive and do it, and put it down heavy with this. This field, the big field back there, my long strip, and then my back field where the soybeans are. I'm going to put the oats first with the spreader, and then I'm going to come back with the smaller seeds, the clover and Nebraskas. And then I'll come back and chain drag everything. Well, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. The field is so wet. Using the spreader, I'm making ruts. I mean, the spreader spreading it nice, man. I mean, nicer than I'm spreading with by hand. Look at the coverage of this with the spreader. I mean, they're everywhere. It's spreading it nice, but the wet areas, I'm spinning wheels. I'm getting stuck in ruts, and I'm messing up the field right here especially. I did the first half by hand, and it was just taking too long. But using that, it's a lot faster, but the ground's too wet to do this with a machine, which means I definitely can't drag this. I cannot drag this because the buggy will just get stuck, pulling a drag behind it. So this field is done. This field's done. We're going to move on to the one up there and spread this stuff first. We're on to the clover and brassica mix. I did all the oats already with the pull behind spreader. That went really fast. That thing spreads those seeds so stinking fast. I actually feel like I didn't put them on thick enough. Well, you could see my tire tracks going up there, up and down the field. making my passes. I mean, that stuff was just emptying so fast that I felt like I probably should have put more seeds down. This field is about 2 acres, I think, and I put in 4 bags. That's 200 pounds. That's 100 pounds per acre. To me, that seems pretty light, but when I looked on the ground, man, they were everywhere. The seeds were everywhere, so it seemed good. And don't you know, sticking somehow soybeans are, look at all the soybeans starting to come up. Like they're 3 months too late. Like I don't know what their deal was. And there's a little patch over here. Yeah, I don't know why they're just now starting to come up. So all the oats are down, and we're going to move on to my mix here and do all the fields with this. And I don't think I can chain drag any field, because even going uphill, I had to put it in four-wheel drive because I was spinning a little bit there. Maybe in the next couple days, if it dries out, I'll go back over everything with the chain drag. The stinking crows, see them? They were hovering over me as I was planting. Where the hell is it? Right there. They're watching me in the trees. All the seeds going down. Suckers. All right, this field's all planted, and I just want to show you, like you can see the oats here, what that spreader did, the coverage of it. Of course, you can't see any of the smaller seeds, but I'd like to put some more oats down. Maybe the next couple of days I'll buy some more and run over it again. I don't know, just to put some more down. But this field's done. We're going to move on to the next one. All right, we made it to the back. This is all our soybeans here. There are a lot of thatch is left from the cornfield when this was a cornfield, and that whole bottom is so beautiful down there. Just really nice beans in here, just not big, just late in the season, and all these beans are going to be dead probably in another month. So it'll be nice to mix these oats and Nebraskas and clover all in here, because it's going to kind of shade it all. So it should work out. Okay, field number 3. This is the back field with all the soybeans in it. You can see all the oats are in there. And let's just put these small seeds in here. I'm gonna take a walk here. I just finished the last food plot here. I got pumpkins. I don't know if I told you that, but the pumpkins are coming up. There's like 3 or 4 rows there. Let me show you this last field that I just did. Oh, there's the orchard. Look at that. Look how nice that's coming up. Is that crazy or what? Miss Oxford 821 yesterday, when I was playing around with all the fields, she went around and mulched everything. I weed whacked it all, but she cut the grass and then put mulch around, all new mulch around everything. Everything looks great. All right, anyway, let's get past these pumpkins here. And this was the last field. Now, if you looked in the other videos, this is a long strip all the way down, and I planted Reed yellow dent corn. The same corn I had on that hillside, which did great, I did here. But I made a big mistake, and I'm just telling you, because a fresh field, I tilled it up, or I disked it up. I didn't have a tiller. I disked it up. I planted the corn. I put a little fertilizer down, and then that was it. That was back in the spring. Well, it was not Roundup ready corn, and because it was the first time that I disked this field, I stirred up the seed bank that was in this weed field here, and the weeds completely took over. And I let it go because I thought the corn might be able to outgrow the weeds, but no, it could not. The weeds just kept getting thicker and taller, and then grass started growing in between there, and I couldn't use Roundup because it would have killed the corn also. So it would have killed everything. So I let it go, hoping the corn would do better, and the weeds took it over, and the corn got about chest high, tasseled out, but with no ears on it, and the deer weren't even messing with the corn. They weren't even like nipping it off or anything, and it was kind of yellow, and it was starving for nutrients. It was getting choked out by weeds, so I said screw it. So I sprayed it all, and I waited like 2 days, and then here's a mistake. I should have waited till everything turned yellow and died, and turned into like potato chips, and then I could have came in here and used my disc. Well, I tried to disc. I was coming down, and then I go back up this side, and the disc is cutting through it barely because it's got to get through all this grass that's not completely dead yet. And then I was pulling the chain drag behind it, and you could see because of all the thatch, all I was doing was making huge clumps. I mean, huge. They're big. They're huge clumps of grass and weeds just piling up, and I just making a mess for myself. So I just stopped. I was like, you can't disc it. You got to wait for it to completely die off, like completely turn yellow to where you can see dirt underneath it, and then your disc will be able to go through there with no problem. But anyway, it is dead. It's all sprayed, and I sprinkled the seeds here. Anyway, you probably can't see anything on the camera, but there is clover in here. And brassicas, clover and brassicas, and this is the last field I had to do. So we've got our crimson clover up here, clover and brassicas here. The middle strip in front of the house has the oats in it also, and then the big field behind the barn going up and down, that has the oats and mix, and then in the back field with the soybeans, that's all done. So that's it for this video. This video is going to be too long and boring as it is, but that's where we're at. That's where we're at for the fall. And it rained. It rained so hard last night. That's why everything's muddy. I can't, and I want to go back over everything with the chain drag, but I can't because it's too muddy. I have to wait for it to dry a little bit. All right. That is it.